Now, in the previous videos, we talked about how to specify argument labels, and we've talked about argument labels and parameters and so on of functions. Now, this video we're going to be talking about omitting argument labels, how to do it, and why to do it. Now, we've kind of covered this in other videos, and I've kind of given you enough examples in other videos to have already answered this question. But if this is the first video that you're seeing in my playlist and you just wanted to know about this, then welcome to the video and we're going to talk about this. So we have these four mathematical functions right now, all right? Multiply, add, subtract, and divide. And we can see that the first one has got the underscore before the num1, right? So let's just go and have a look at the add function first of all, because the add, when we do add 2 and 2 and we build it, you see that we've got missing argument labels num1 and then 2, right? So now we see add num1 to 2, and this is kind of declarative, but can we make it even more declarative by saying add 2 to 2? All right, let's change that. Let's add 6 to 2, or let's say add it 6 to 5, and it sounds even better. Add 6 to 5. This would sound a lot better. So we just want to get rid of this num1 right on the outside, on the usage part of it, and now we can say add 6 to 5, right? And this is a lot more declarative, and when you use it, you don't want to be having to write labels that are not required. Now, it's the best thing to have the function name, right, be the indication of the first label or the first argument, all right? So we are kind of coupling the two things together, right, in this. So it's a little bit of a join, but inside the function body, obviously you still access the num1 as is, because the labels, they're only for the usage, they're not for the actual implementation. But you can see now how by omitting the argument label, here we are telling the function to be a lot more declarative. And now we can say multiply, right, 3 by 7. And it sounds a lot more declarative, right? And this is all it is. It's really very subjective about what it looks like. And subtract 8 from 9, right? Whoops, 8 from 9. So now we've got subtract num1 from 9, but we already know this is a number because it's written in the type annotation. So what we want to remove, you want to say subtract 8 from 9, all right? So now we can just remove this with the underscore, and now we get subtract 8 from 9. And once again with the divide function here, if we just say divide num1, so 3 by 7, right? This is not going to create an integer, obviously, but it will create one because that's what happens. We don't want this num1. We just want to say divide 3. We'll remove it there. Obviously, you see here that when you remove it there and someone has used it, they can't. The compiler will not allow it any further, and so on. So this is basically how to do this. It's a nice little feature, all right. And as you can see here, we can get rid of these compiler warnings as well by using the underscore to say that this value is not being used. But it's all about writing clean code, and I've mentioned this multiple times now. Is the function body, right? Is if you don't have to write something, don't write it. If you can leave some code out for some reason, leave it out. If you can shorten the name down, all right, to make it more explicit, right, then shorten it down. Don't write as much code. So try and be as declarative as possible, right? We want to avoid being imperative. Now, if you've got lots and lots of code that goes together, right, you want to separate it down into smaller pieces to be more declarative. And so it means you've got a very imperative amount of code that does lots and lots of things, but each piece is very declarative and single responsibility. And this is where these argument labels and also the naming convention and the clean code comes into it, is that you're trying to make the blocks of code so clear that you don't really need any documentation for it, okay? And this is what I'm trying to say, is that try and think about your code as being as clear as possible for you now, for another person in the future, and for yourself in the future too, when they're reading or reviewing your code. With that said, it was a simple topic, but all I'm trying to get through to you is writing clean code. Because if you do go and work for a company as a junior developer, right, the one thing that you are going to get through is code review. And code review is going to be the thing in your probation period or whatever where they're going to think this person doesn't write very clean code. And you're always going to be the one that's got code smells, you've got smells in your code and so on. So it's really important, fundamentally important, that you learn from the other developers, the senior developers, the lead developers about writing clean code and how clean code is written. Because as a junior developer, you're not going to see it, all right? And I'm trying to teach you right now is that it's fundamental to write clean code from the beginning, all right, and know what clean code is. With that said, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all of the other social media things that you could do to this one video. And if you've got any questions, concerns, feedbacks, or just you want to say thank you, let's start a conversation in the comment section down below. I will answer all questions that are asked of me, but I try to separate my videos down into the smallest chunks as possible. So really, all of your questions should be answered in previous videos as well. And if you're asking a question about a future video, well, then look in the playlist to see whether that has been answered already. If not, then it's going to be a video coming in the future anyway. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.